I've decided to start a new life without you." The words hung in the air of Cattleman's Steakhouse like smoke from a bad electrical fire. Sandra, my wife of 23 years, stood with her sweet tea raised, her announcement displacing the toast she was supposed to be making to our son Danny's engineering graduation. The clinking of silverware ceased. Conversations halted mid-sentence. 40 pairs of eyes darted between Sandra and me, waiting for my reaction, for the shouting, the anger, the dramatic scene everyone expected from a union electrician who'd just been blindsided. Instead, I smiled and reached into my jacket pocket. "Congratulations on your honesty," I said, pulling out a thick manila envelope. "Perfect timing, actually. My name is Bobby Pierce. I'm 52 years old, and until this moment, I'd been playing the role of the devoted husband and father perfectly. For 23 years, I'd worked my ass off as a union electrician at Dallas Electric Co-op, climbing poles in 100-degree Texas heat and crawling through industrial conduits so Sandra could work part-time at Morrison & Associates law firm, and Danny could focus on his studies at UT Arlington. I'd bought us a solid brick house in Fort Worth with my overtime pay. I'd taught Danny how to wire outlets and change brake pads. I'd been the steady provider, while Sandra handled the administrative work that kept our household running smooth as a well-oiled transformer. From across the restaurant, I could see Kevin Walsh, Sandra's much younger boyfriend, shifting uncomfortably at the bar where he sat nursing a Sheener Bock, the same Kevin who sold Fords to my union brothers, the same Kevin who'd attended our 4th of July barbecues and called me sir while shaking my hand. The same Kevin who apparently didn't know that electricians have access to every building in the city, including the Marriott where he'd been taking my wife twice a week for 6 months. Danny sat beside me, still wearing his graduation cap from the UT Arlington ceremony that morning, his face frozen in confusion. At 22, he'd inherited my practical nature and Sandra's quick mind, a combination that had earned him a mechanical engineering degree with honors and no student debt, thanks to every overtime hour I'd worked for 4 years. "Dad, what's going on?" Danny asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Something your mother's been planning for a while, son," I said, placing the envelope gently beside Sandra's plate of barely touched chicken fried steak. "But I've been planning longer." Sandra's triumphant expression faltered like a circuit breaker, tripping under too much load. "What's this?" "Something for you to read later," I replied, keeping my voice steady as a 220-volt line. "Right now, let's focus on Danny's achievement. 4 years of engineering school, paid in full by my electrical work. No student loans, no debt. Just honest labor buying an honest education." I stood up, straightened my best button-down shirt, the same one I'd worn to every important family occasion for the past 5 years, and addressed our stunned guests. My brother Frank sat frozen with his beer halfway to his mouth. Sandra's parents looked like they'd been struck by lightning. Danny's engineering classmates and their families stared in uncomfortable silence. "Please enjoy your steaks, folks," I announced, my voice carrying the same authority I used when directing crews on high-voltage jobs. "This day is still about my son's accomplishment, Danny Pierce, mechanical engineer. Remember that name. You'll be hearing it a lot in this town." The pride in my voice was genuine. Everything else about this moment was calculated. I walked toward the exit, feeling those 40 pairs of eyes following me like spotlights on a job site. Behind me, I heard chairs scraping against the floor, whispered conversations starting up, and Sandra's voice rising in pitch as someone, probably her mother, started asking questions she couldn't answer without revealing the truth. Outside, the August heat hit me like opening an electrical panel that had been running hot all day, but I welcomed it. For the first time in months, I could breathe without wondering what lie Sandra would tell me next, what excuse she'd make for working late, what story she'd concoct to explain the credit card charges I'd been tracking since March. My F-150 sat in the parking lot, its white paint reflecting the Texas sun like a beacon. I'd bought that truck new in 2019 with overtime money from hurricane recovery work in Houston. Sandra had wanted me to finance a luxury SUV instead, but I'd learned long ago that debt was just another way to give someone else control over your life. Behind me, the restaurant door slammed open with enough force to rattle the windows. Sandra's voice, no longer confident but high-pitched and frantic, cut through the humid air. "Bobby, what the hell is this? What have you done?" I kept walking toward my truck, allowing myself a small grin for the first time in 3 months. The envelope contained the beginning of my revenge, one I'd been methodically planning ever since Tommy Rodriguez from Local 176 spotted Sandra and Kevin at a Rangers game during my shift. "Bobby!" Sandra called again, her heels clicking rapidly on the asphalt as she tried to catch up. "Stop! We need to talk about this." I reached my truck and turned to face her. Sandra looked exactly like what she was, a 49-year-old woman who just realized her carefully laid plans were unraveling faster than copper wire in an electrical fire. Her blonde hair was perfectly styled, her makeup flawless, her sundress the expensive kind she'd been buying with money she claimed we didn't have. Kevin had followed her outside, but kept his distance, probably smart enough to recognize that confronting a pissed-off union electrician in a parking lot wasn't his best career move, especially since he'd already lost his job that morning, though he didn't know I was the one who'd made sure his manager at the dealership received those surveillance photos. "What have you done?" Sandra repeated, waving the envelope like it contained a bomb instead of legal documents. "What needed doing?" I replied simply. "Sometimes you have to shut off the main breaker before you can fix what's wrong with the system." I'd always been the practical one in our marriage. While Sandra talked about dreams and possibilities, I maintained the stability our family needed. I was the one who saved every overtime dollar for Danny's education. When Sandra wanted to remodel the kitchen with granite countertops we didn't need, I was the one who worked double shifts during the ice storms of February 2021 while she complained about being stuck in the house with unreliable internet. My own dreams of starting Pierce Electrical Contracting had been on hold for years. After Danny graduates, I told myself, after we pay off the house. Always after something else came first. Always after Sandra's immediate wants were satisfied. 3 months ago, Tommy Rodriguez pulled me aside at the Union Hall after our monthly Local 176 meeting. Tommy's been my partner on high-voltage jobs for 8 years, the kind of guy you trust with your life when you're working on live power lines 30 feet off the ground. "Bobby, I hate to be the bearer of bad news," Tommy said, his weathered face serious under the fluorescent lights of the Union Hall. "But I saw Sandra at the Rangers game yesterday with some young guy in a Ford Polo shirt. They weren't watching much baseball, if you know what I mean." My first instinct was denial. Sandra had told me she was having girls' night with her coworkers from the law firm. She'd been having a lot of those lately, every Tuesday and Thursday evening for the past 6 months, always when I was working late on commercial jobs that paid time and a half. I could have confronted Sandra immediately, demanded explanations, started a fight that would have torn our family apart in front of Danny during his final semester. But 20 years of electrical troubleshooting had taught me patience. You don't just start pulling wires when something's not working right. You test the circuit first. You trace the problem back to its source. You gather your evidence before you make your move. What I discovered over the next 3 months was worse than a short circuit. It was a complete system failure. Sandra had been systematically lying to me for over a year. She claimed her law firm was cutting hours due to budget constraints, but her paychecks remained exactly the same. I knew, because I still handled our family finances, had been doing it for 23 years. She said she needed girls' nights to decompress from work stress, but those nights coincided perfectly with Kevin Walsh's schedule at McKinney Ford. The credit card statements told a different story than the one Sandra was spinning. Charges at restaurants I'd never been to, expensive places with names like Toulouse Cafe and Rayada Restaurant, hotel rooms booked at the Marriott downtown, during my out-of-town jobs installing emergency power systems for hospitals. Jewelry purchases from K Jewelers that never appeared in Sandra's jewelry box. But the smoking gun came when I used my electrical contractor's access badge to perform a routine inspection of the fire safety systems at the Marriott downtown. Security cameras don't lie, and neither do electronic keycard logs. Room 412, every Tuesday and Thursday for 6 months, registered to Kevin Walsh, but with 2 occupants every single time. What Sandra had forgotten, or maybe never understood in the first place, was that electricians are natural investigators. We follow circuits until we find the break in the line. We test connections systematically until we locate the exact point of failure. We document everything because lives depend on getting it right the first time. While Sandra plotted her dramatic exit with Kevin, thinking she was being clever and discreet, I was building my case like wiring a new sub panel, methodical, thorough, and absolutely up to code. I consulted with Brady Coleman, a divorce attorney, whose office I'd rewired after a lightning strike last year. Brady owed me a favor, and he was good at keeping his mouth shut. I documented every lie, every secret meeting, every dollar she'd spent on her affair. I took photographs of the credit card statements, printed copies of the hotel logs, even recorded a few conversations when Sandra thought I was in the garage working on Danny's car. Texas is a one-party consent state, which means I could legally record any conversation I was part of. And since Sandra had been taking Kevin's calls in our house, my house, bought and paid for with union wages, those recordings were completely admissible in court. The evidence painted a picture of systematic deception that went far beyond a simple affair. Sandra hadn't just been cheating on me emotionally and physically. She'd been stealing from our family financially, using money we'd saved for Danny's future to fund her midlife crisis with a Ford salesman who made $68,000 a year and still lived in a rental apartment. But I didn't just want evidence. I wanted justice. And justice, in a union town like Fort Worth, meant making sure everyone knew exactly what kind of person Sandra Pierce really was. I started making calls to my network. In the electrical trade, your reputation is everything, and word travels fast between job sites. Kevin Walsh had been overcharging union members on truck repairs for years, taking advantage of guys who needed reliable transportation to get to work sites. My brothers in Local 176 deserved to know they were being scammed by someone who was also destroying a union family. A few strategic conversations with the right people, and Kevin's manager at McKinney Ford received an anonymous envelope containing surveillance photos and documentation of Kevin using company time for personal affairs. In the automotive business, trust is crucial. Customers need to believe their salesman has integrity. Kevin's career was over before Sandra even made her grand announcement. The preparation took 3 months. Every detail was planned, every contingency covered, every piece of evidence documented and verified. When Sandra stood up in Cattleman's Steakhouse to make her dramatic declaration, she thought she was holding all the cards. She had no idea I'd already won the game. But I didn't return to the restaurant to watch the fallout. Instead, I drove straight home to our house, the solid brick ranch that I'd rewired myself, upgraded with smart home technology, and paid for with 18 years of union wages. The house that Sandra had already promised to sell, according to text messages I'd seen on her phone when she'd forgotten to clear her message history. I parked in the driveway and walked through the front door into what had been our shared space for 15 years. Everything looked the same as it had that morning. The family photos on the mantle showing Danny's progression from Little League to high school graduation. The leather recliner where I'd watch Cowboys games and explained electrical principles to Danny during homework sessions. The kitchen island where we'd worked on his science fair projects, building circuits and motors that actually worked. Yet, everything had changed. The foundation was still solid, but the trust that had held our family together had been severed as cleanly as a wire cut with professional-grade strippers. My phone buzzed constantly with messages from the restaurant. Frank texting to ask if I was okay, Danny wanting to know where I'd gone. Even Sandra's mother, who'd flown in from Oklahoma City for the graduation, sending confused questions about what had just happened. I responded only to my son. I'm fine, at home. We'll talk tonight. Today is still your day. Be proud of what you've accomplished. I'd protected Danny from the truth for 3 months, not wanting to destroy his final semester with family drama. He'd worked too hard, sacrificed too much of his college experience to maintain the GPA that earned him honors recognition. He deserved to graduate without the weight of his parents' failed marriage on his shoulders. 2 hours later, I heard Sandra's Honda Civic in the driveway, the engine running rough because she'd been ignoring the check engine light for 6 months. The front door slammed open with enough force to rattle the windows I'd installed myself when we'd renovated the living room. "Bobby!" she shouted, her voice echoing through the house like feedback from an overloaded amplifier. "Where are you?" I was sitting in my recliner, calmly reviewing electrical. Schematics for a commercial job on my tablet. The Brookshire supermarket chain wanted me to bid on upgrading their refrigeration systems, and the technical specs required careful attention. I closed the tablet as Sandra stormed into the living room, her face flushed with anger and confusion, the envelope clutched in her hand like evidence of a crime. "What is the meaning of this?" she demanded, waving the papers at me. Divorce papers, today of all days? Seemed appropriate, I replied, keeping my voice as steady as a multimeter reading. You wanted to start your new life. I'm just helping facilitate the transition, like installing a new breaker panel. Sometimes you have to shut off the old system before you can wire up the new one. Sandra's perfectly styled hair was beginning to wilt in the heat, and her expensive sundress showed sweat stains under her arms. She looked exactly like what she was. A woman who'd just realized her carefully orchestrated plan had blown up in her face like a short circuit in wet conditions. You had no right to— I had every right, I interrupted, my voice carrying the authority of 2 decades in a profession where mistakes can kill you. Just like you had every right to choose Kevin Walsh. We all make choices, Sandra. The difference is, I make mine with full information and careful planning. This is ridiculous, she said, her voice turning desperate as the reality of the situation began to sink in. We can work through this. Kevin is 35 years old and makes $68,000 a year selling trucks to people who actually work for a living, I said, consulting my phone where I'd saved screenshots of his employment records. According to his credit report, which isn't hard to access when you wire the computer systems that store it, he's got $42,000 in debt and lives in a 1,200 square foot rental apartment in Arlington. Quite a step down from a fully paid 3-bedroom house and a union pension worth 6 figures. The color drained from Sandra's face like power cutting out during a storm. Her grand romance was about to become a very practical nightmare, and she was just beginning to understand the financial implications of her choices. You can't do this to me, Sandra said, collapsing onto the couch we'd bought together 8 years ago, with overtime money from hurricane relief work in Louisiana. We built this life together. And you chose to tear it down, I replied. I'm just making sure I don't get electrocuted by the debris when it falls. Sandra's phone buzzed insistently in her purse. She glanced at it, then tried to ignore it, but the buzzing continued. Kevin, no doubt wondering where she was and why she wasn't answering his calls. Probably starting to panic as word spread through Fort Worth's tight-knit automotive community about what had happened at his workplace that morning. You've always been controlling, Bobby, she said, trying a different approach, her voice taking on the manipulative tone I'd learned to recognize over the past year. But this is cold. What about our history? 23 years together means nothing to you? I studied her face. This woman I'd loved for over 2 decades. The woman who'd held my hand when my father died of a heart attack on a job site. The woman who'd surprised me with a weekend trip to Austin for our 10th anniversary. Back when we actually communicated instead of just coexisting. When had she changed, or had she always been this person? And I'd been too focused on providing for our family to notice the warning signs. Our history meant everything to me, I answered truthfully, my voice steady despite the emotional weight of the moment. That's why your betrayal cut so deep. You didn't just cheat on me, Sandra. You systematically planned to humiliate me in front of our family and friends. You stole from our savings. You lied to our son. Her expression softened momentarily, perhaps seeing an opening in my honesty. Then maybe we can fix this. I made a mistake. People make mistakes, Bobby. We can go to counseling. We can work through this. This wasn't a mistake, Sandra. This was a calculated plan spanning over a year. You systematically moved money from our joint savings. You spent our retirement fund on hotel rooms and jewelry for another man. You planned to announce our separation publicly to maximize my humiliation. Her face hardened again, the mask of victimhood slipping to reveal the calculating woman underneath. You're being dramatic. You're exaggerating everything. Am I? I picked up my phone and opened the voice recording app. Sandra's own voice filled the room, clear and unmistakable. After the graduation dinner, I'll tell him it's over. A public setting is better. He won't make a scene in front of everyone, especially not in front of Danny's classmates. Then Kevin's voice equally clear. And he has no idea about the money you've been moving to the account. Sandra's voice again? None. Bobby trusts me completely. He thinks I'm working late at the law firm. That's his weakness. He never questions anything I tell him. The blood drained from Sandra's face as she heard her own words played back to her. She stared at the phone like it was a live electrical wire. You recorded us? That's illegal. You can't use that in court. Not in Texas when it's recorded in my own home, I responded, my voice carrying the calm authority of someone who'd done his homework. And not when someone's planning to commit adultery in the house I paid for while I'm working 60-hour weeks to support them. Sandra stood suddenly, agitation making her movements sharp and erratic. I need to call someone. I need legal advice. Good idea, I said. Your boyfriend might want to get some legal advice too, especially since his former manager at McKinney Ford is probably going to file charges for theft of company time. Amazing how much evidence accumulates when you start looking for it. You wouldn't destroy someone's career over this. I didn't destroy Kevin's career. Kevin destroyed Kevin's career when he decided to use company resources to conduct an affair with a married woman. I just made sure the right people had access to the relevant information. Sandra grabbed her purse from the coffee table, her hands shaking slightly as she fumbled for her phone. This is vindictive, Bobby. This isn't like you. Perhaps you never really knew me, I replied, just like I apparently never really knew you. Her phone rang in her hands before she could dial. She looked at the caller ID and her face went pale. Problem? I asked. It's Kevin, she whispered. He's been trying to reach me all afternoon. You should answer it, I suggested. He probably has some interesting news to share. Sandra answered the phone with trembling fingers. Hello? Even from across the room, I could hear Kevin's agitated voice through the speaker. Words like fired, security footage, and need to talk carried clearly in the sudden silence of our living room. I'll call you back, Sandra said quickly, ending the call. She stared at me with something that might have been fear. What did you do? I made sure that people who steal from working families face appropriate consequences, I said simply. Kevin's been overcharging union members on truck repairs for years. My brothers deserved to know they were being scammed by someone who was also destroying a union family. The full scope of my planning was finally becoming clear to Sandra. This wasn't just about divorce papers and hurt feelings. This was about justice, carefully orchestrated and methodically executed. You've destroyed everything, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't destroy anything that wasn't already broken, I replied. I just removed the damaged components before they could cause more problems. The front door opened and Danny's voice called out from the entryway. Dad? Mom? Are you home? Sandra and I looked at each other across the living room that had once been the heart of our family life. 23 years of shared history reduced to this moment of complete breakdown. We're in here, son, I called out. Danny walked into the living room, still wearing his graduation shirt, but his tie was loosened and his face showed the strain of the afternoon's events. At 22, he had my height and Sandra's quick intelligence. But right now he looked younger, confused by the adult drama that had exploded during what should have been his celebration. Can someone please explain to me what the hell happened back there? Danny asked, his voice carrying a frustration I'd rarely heard from him. Half the restaurant was staring at us. Uncle Frank looks like someone died, and Grandma Pierce is asking me questions I can't answer. Sandra opened her mouth to speak, but I held up my hand. Your mother has been having an affair for over a year, I said directly. She planned to announce our divorce today to humiliate me publicly. Instead, I served her with papers first and provided evidence of her deception to the appropriate parties. Danny's face went through a series of expressions: confusion, disbelief, anger, and finally a cold understanding that reminded me painfully of myself. Why didn't you tell me? Danny asked, his voice tight with controlled anger. I could have handled it. I'm not a kid anymore. Because it wasn't your burden to carry, I explained, gesturing for him to sit down. You worked too hard for this day to have it poisoned by family drama. You earned that engineering degree, and nothing that's happening between your mother and me changes that accomplishment. Danny looked between Sandra and me, his jaw set in a way that reminded me of myself when I was making difficult decisions on job sites. So, what happens now? Sandra finally found her voice. Danny, you have to understand. Your father is being unreasonable. We can work through this as a family. People make mistakes. Stop, Danny said, cutting her off with a firmness that surprised us both. Just stop with the excuses. I'm 22 years old, not 12. I've known something was wrong for months. You've been different, distracted, always on your phone, working late when you never used to. He turned to me. And you've been working more hours than usual, staying busy. I thought it was just stress about my graduation expenses, but it was this, wasn't it? I nodded. I didn't want you to worry about anything except finishing school. Your education was the priority. Danny stood up and walked to the window overlooking our backyard, where the workshop I'd built still contained the electrical training equipment I'd used to teach him basic circuits when he was in high school. After a long moment, he turned back to face us. "I can't even look at you right now," he said to Sandra. "You hugged me this morning and told me how proud you were, knowing you were going to blow up our family a few hours later." Sandra's composure finally cracked completely. "Danny, please, I'm still your mother." "You're the woman who gave birth to me," Danny replied coldly. "But a real mother wouldn't have done what you did today." Over the next 3 hours, Sandra packed her belongings with mechanical efficiency, like someone who'd been planning this moment for months. She moved through our house, collecting items that had once represented shared memories. The coffee mugs from our anniversary trips, books we'd read together, photos from better times. Kevin never showed up to help her. According to the text messages she kept checking, he was dealing with his own crisis. McKinney Ford had terminated his employment immediately after. Receiving evidence of his conduct, and word was already spreading through Fort Worth's automotive community about why he'd been fired. In a business built on trust and reputation, Kevin Walsh was finished. As Sandra loaded the last box into her Honda, she paused at the front door. "I hope you're satisfied, Bobby," she said quietly. "I'm getting there," I replied honestly. "One step at a time." She nodded, perhaps understanding that some bridges, once burned by betrayal, can't be rebuilt with apologies. "Take care of yourself, and take care of Danny." "Always have," I said. "That's what fathers do." 6 months later, Pierce Electrical Contracting was exceeding every projection I'd made. Danny had graduated and joined the business full-time, bringing modern engineering principles to traditional electrical work. His mechanical engineering background gave us capabilities that larger contractors couldn't match, especially for industrial clients who needed custom solutions. We'd landed the contract to upgrade the electrical systems for the new Amazon distribution center south of Fort Worth, a job worth $400,000 that would establish our reputation for major commercial work. Tommy Rodriguez had left Dallas Electric Co-op to become my foreman, bringing 3 other skilled electricians with him. Word of mouth in the union community brought more work than we could handle. Danny had proven to be a natural businessman, handling project management and client relationships while I focused on the technical aspects of complex installations. Father and son working together to build something that would last beyond both our lifetimes. Sandra had moved in with Kevin after he found work at a smaller dealership in Arlington, but according to Frank, who still heard the local gossip, they were struggling financially and fighting constantly about money. Kevin's new job paid 30% less than his position at McKinney Ford, and Sandra's part-time income couldn't support the lifestyle she'd grown accustomed to during our marriage. The irony was perfect. If Sandra had been honest from the beginning, if she'd asked for counseling or simply requested a divorce, she could have walked away with half of everything I'd built over 23 years. Instead, she'd gambled on a younger man with bigger dreams than bank account and lost everything that mattered. But this story isn't really about Sandra or even about revenge. It's about the moment when a man realizes that the life he's been building can survive any storm, as long as the foundation is solid and the wiring is done right. The envelope I'd handed Sandra at Cattleman's Steakhouse hadn't just contained divorce papers and evidence of her betrayal. It had contained the blueprints for a better life, one built on honest work, family loyalty, and the kind of electrical precision that keeps the lights on when everything else goes dark. Danny and I work together every day now, planning jobs, solving complex electrical problems, building a business that bears our family name with pride. The Pierce name means something in Fort Worth's construction community. It means quality work, fair dealing, and the kind of reliability that comes from understanding that your reputation is the only currency that really matters. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. Sometimes it's just proving that you were always the better man, and that the life you built with honest labor can withstand any amount of betrayal. In a union town like Fort Worth, that's the only truth that counts.